rebate form at O'Reilly Auto Parts and make a purchase of $25 or more, or buy 5 quarts of any Pennzoil motor oil. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
On Valentine's Day, love might be blind, but at service shops, keep your eyes wide open. First, do some recon. Contact the Better Business Bureau and ask friends for report cards on shops they use. Then, call prospective shops. Are people responsive? If they don't have time for you now, imagine when there's a problem. Also, pay shops a visit. Look for a well-maintained organization and look out for a dirty, cluttered environment. Yes, to avoid heartbreak at repair time, initially judge service centers like other professionals by reputation, responsiveness, and self-respect. I'm Bobby Likis. Likis, you'll love us. Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with today's Car Clinic Minute. Ah, romance. You, your honey, and your SUV out for a night on the town. During dinner, she steals your heart. Ah. But wait, that's not all that's stolen. When I come back, I'll give you the facts.
O'Reilly.
Race fans, the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 at Texas Motor Speedway is Sunday, April 8th. And now you can earn a free O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 commemorative hat by mail. Just pick up a rebate form at O'Reilly Auto Parts and make a purchase of $25 or more, or buy 5 quarts of any Pennzoil motor oil. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Could be, as you woo one love tableside, someone else is busy with your other love curbside. Yes, 1.6 million vehicles are stolen each year. That's 1 every 20 seconds. Top targets? SUVs and sports cars. And if they're under 5 years old, in a city over 250,000, bullseye. So if you're an LUV with your SUV, protect it from unwanted cupids with warning or immobilizing devices, tracking systems, and good old common sense. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us. Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with today's Car Clinic Minute. Ah, winter vacations. Skiing, sledding, hot chocolate in the lodge. But no such luck for transmission repair technicians. When I come back, I'll tell you why winter snowstorms keep transmission shops busy.
O'Reilly.
Race fans, the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 at Texas Motor Speedway is Sunday, April 8th. And now you can earn a free O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 commemorative hat by mail. Just pick up a rebate form at O'Reilly Auto Parts and make a purchase of $25 or more, or buy 5 quarts of any Pennzoil motor oil. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Transmission shops are busiest after a heavy snowstorm because, think about it. What do we do when we're stuck in snow? If you said rock our cars back and forth from low gear to reverse, you're right. Unfortunately, for our cars and our wallets, we rock way too hard, resulting in overheated automatic transmissions and damaged universal joints. So the next time you're stuck in snow, easy does it. And remember, if you're really stuck, a tow truck may be cheaper than a new transmission. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us. Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with today's Car Clinic Minute. Ever wish you had a crash course in brakes before you have a crash? Are the terms master cylinder, calipers, and brake pads all Greek to you? Don't worry, when I come back, it's Brakes 101.
O'Reilly
Race fans, the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 at Texas Motor Speedway is Sunday, April 8th. And now you can earn a free O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 commemorative hat by mail. Just pick up a rebate form at O'Reilly Auto Parts and make a purchase of $25 or more. Or buy 5 quarts of any Pennzoil motor oil. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Welcome to Brakes 101. Knowing how brakes work helps ensure they do work. Master cylinders are the heart of the system. Hearts pump blood. Master cylinders pump brake fluid to all 4 wheels. Calipers and wheel cylinders, like strong hand muscles, convert brake fluid into stopping power. Brake pads and shoes, like skin, protect caliper muscles from friction caused by stopping. As in biological systems, the blood, muscles, and skin of braking systems are critical to long life, the brakes, and yours. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us.
Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 3-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 1-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 30-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 10-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And good morning, folks. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Let's kick off another great day. I don't know about you, but what a heck of a week this was. It was really a great week in many ways, a lot of ways. We had many new clients to come into our automotive service shop, and we're seeing a changing of the guard, so to speak, and we're seeing sort of a difference in the way people understand car owners, specifically. That would be you and me, of course, to view their car and how they maintain it. And so often we'll see a car that is old and pretty well used up and worn out, and we will advise, after due diligence and after our inspections, we'll advise those car owners not to spend their good, hard-earned money on that car. Because you could take a car that's worth $3,000 and spend $2,000 on it and still have the same car that's not worth $5,000. However, having said that, if you can invest a couple $1,000 and know, I mean, for all intents and purposes, it's hard to know, but know that you're going to get another couple of years out of that automobile, then that's $100 a month. You can amortize the cost of repair. What we call it at Car Clinic is buying your own car back. And you know, sometimes that makes sense because you know the shortcomings of your car. What you don't know is the shortcomings of another cheaper used car. And there's a lot of other ways that I'll be able to save you money on today's broadcast. So let's get started. 888-227-2546 when I come back. Car repairs get expensive, and most of us don't have spare money for them. That's where brands like K-Seal really can be a lifesaver. A leaking freeze plug is definitely cause for concern. The plugs seal the cooling system and are a common cause of leaks on aging engines. And while the plugs themselves are not terribly expensive, replacement can be a tedious job. It's because most freeze plugs are difficult to gain access to, not to mention the fact that you have to drain and refill the entire cooling system. All of this ultimately makes for an expensive repair. So what can you do if your vehicle is only worth a few $1,000s? That's where K-Seal comes in. Pour K-Seal into the cooling system, and it will work to seal the system as you drive. Never clogs up. It also stays in the system and can help prevent future leaks as well. We've used K-Seal on many cars in our shop and have had great results. Find K-Seal at automotive retailers nationwide and get more information at kseal.com. That's kseal.com. I have another vehicle repair to spotlight. A 99 Jeep Cherokee came into the shop recently with a P0303 misfire fault on cylinder number 3. The misfire was erratic, which made diagnosing the problem more difficult. Other shops had thrown parts at it, installing new plug wires, plugs, fuel injector, and some technical service bulletin updates. Nothing worked. We used a borescope, a type of inside-the-engine camera, to inspect the number 3 cylinder, and sure enough saw heavy carbon deposits around the exhaust valve. No traditional cleaner will work on a carbonized exhaust valve. Enter Berryman Products B12 Chem Tool Fuel System Cleaner. We removed the plug, brought the piston around so the exhaust valve was just opening, and filled the cylinder with Berryman B12 Chem Tool Fuel System Cleaner. After an overnight soak, we siphoned out the chemical and replaced the plug. Now, several weeks since the repair, and no reported problems, thanks to Berryman. Find more automotive repair and maintenance solutions at berrymanproducts.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Ricey Outfitters, I'm Tina. How can I help you?
I'd like to place an order.
Great. Which item?
The cotton roll neck sweater, large.
Okay. Periwinkle, Loden, or caramel?
The caramel, please.
The what?
I'd like it in caramel.
Oh, the caramel?
Yeah, that's what I said, Tina.
Actually, you said caramel when it's pronounced caramel.
Can't we just call it yellow?
No.
Everyone knows the best part of a Milky Way. They just don't know how to say it. After all, it's our caramel.
It's caramel.
Ugh, that makes a Milky Way great.
You start my morning, you stir in my soul, you warm my heart, make me feel whole. Your aroma calls me, starts my morning, happy morning. Your name is Folgers Mountain Grow, now you're here. Your aroma helps me wake and the day is mine to take. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Okay, let's get started with today's broadcast. Car Clinic, here we come from the center of the automotive universe, which, folks, happens to be an Acoustic Systems all-digital studio located inside a 15,000 square foot automotive service facility on the Gulf Coast of Florida. And our affiliates across the nation, California and the state of Washington and New York and Daytona and Texas and the like, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Mississippi, Texas, all of our affiliates, we thank you so much for airing Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Really, my job is just to share what I learned in my lifetime of automotive service and repair with our listeners, to help save them money. And then from time to time we have special events coming up. Well, today is one of those special events. And for you who have questions, let me give you the number. Now's a great time to call at 888-227-2546. Hannah will take your call, put you in the queue, and I will put you on the air right after Terry Sabiston. Folks, today is the history of the North Turn Beach Parade. The parade is a cooperative effort with the county of Volusia, the town of Ponce Inlet, and Racing's North Turn. The first parade was held February 18th, 2012, to honor the years of NASCAR's historic Beach Racing Day. The races were held on the sands of Ponce Inlet Beach at the North Turn and the South Turn from 1948 to 1958. Every February, they hold a vintage race car parade on Saturday, and today is the day, just 1 week prior to the Daytona 500. Terry Sabiston, Director of Motorsports for our affiliate, WNDB 1150 AM in Daytona, is here. Well, he's not here. He's there on the beach to share with us his vision of what's going on. Terry, welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. You're not in the infield today, right?
Well, sort of. I'm in the infield of the old racetrack.
Oh, okay. Well, give us a view of that. And, you know, they say once you come to Florida and get sand in your shoes, you can never get it out. So I presume that today, not that you're not already in Florida, but you have more sand in your shoes.
I do have sand in my shoes because I took a walk down that beach section that they used to race on this morning, and it was amazing. It's a beautiful day out here. I'm sweating out here at 75, 80 degrees, beautiful day in Florida, but I'm surrounded by hundreds of people out here at the staging area where these cars are getting ready to roll off to start the parade. But the day started down on a little piece of asphalt about 250 feet long that is the last piece of the asphalt from A1A when it used to run right along the top of the dunes that they used to race on. And they dedicated a plaque, and the last piece of asphalt is down there in a park. And it just looks like part of the road in the park, but that's the original asphalt that these guys raced on A1A, headed south, and then turned around and came north back down the beach here to the North Turn. And right now they're getting ready to roll off about 40 cars and do a parade down the asphalt, the new asphalt, which is now probably 100 yards further inland. And there's condos and everything out here where the old A1A is, except for that little strip. And it was pretty awesome to be walking on that little strip of asphalt, to think that, you know, back in 1948, that's where those guys were doing 100+ miles an hour down that little narrow 2-lane road.
There's one word for that, Terry, and that's crazy. Folks, you have to see this. I took a tour last evening. Go to Racing's, plural, racingsnorthturn.com. And you will see a video riding in an older car of some of the, I mean, there was no such thing as crowd control or crowd protection or barrier walls. I mean, it was just, paint us that picture, Terry.
It's amazing to, you know, even today, right now, it's lined the same way. There's people packed all along the sides of the road. The beach is the same way. That's the way it was back in the 40s and 50s. The only thing missing is the rattlesnake signs to tell you that in the dunes, to keep you from wandering through the dunes, that Bill France put up so that he could make sure people paid admission when they came down here. Oh. But there are no rattlesnake signs anymore. But the crowd is here, the beach is here, and the pavement's here. Bobby, there are 40 cars. All of them are from 1958 and before, that have raced here on the beach, or they're replicas of ones that raced on the beach. And we got people like Mike Helton, Joey Chitwood out here going to be driving a couple of these cars. There's some drivers out here that raced on the beach with the names of True Love and Goodyear. It's amazing when you start wandering around and talking to these people. And this is their old car, and the same guy who raced it on the beach is out here driving it today. So you talk about cars that need maintenance. Think about this. These are old 1948, you know, and 50s, and some even earlier, and they maintain these things and keep them drivable so they can bring them out for things like this.
So, Terry, are these modified cars? Are they original? I mean, are there any rules, or they just have to be of that era, that age?
The rules are it has to be before 1948. It has to be a replica or an original car that raced on the beach. They have numbers on the side. All of them, you know, there's the Hudson Hornet, the original Hudson Hornets out here. And, I mean, these are cars from the living legends of automobile racing that sit in a museum throughout the year. They bring them out several times a year. They show them off. They keep them in good shape. And it's old race car drivers and their families that have gotten together with the old race cars. So it's a work of art. Are there any rules? I don't know. Looking at these cars, I'm surprised some of them are still running. But then, too, you look, and there's an old Thunderbird that Bobby Allison's name on it that looks just it's the aerodynamics on it are unbelievable, and it looks like it's an early 50s Thunderbird body shape, but they've done some aerodynamic work on it. So there's extremes in cars out here, and then they even have the old push trucks that they use to push them to get them going out here. So this is a walk back in history, and just walking into the North Turn restaurant's a walk back in history with the old pictures and everything they got going on here. Buzz McKim is here. And Buzz was with the NASCAR Hall of Fame for years, and he's retired from that. And he's out here today. This is just a pre-season warm-up. I take it because literally from here I head straight over to the Speedway, and we got the Lucas Oil 200 this afternoon. The WNEB broadcast team is calling it at 4:30 this afternoon. It's a full day here. I'm hearing motors firing up. They're getting ready to roll these guys out, I believe, at 10:30. But there is a field of cars that are going to roll down A1A just like they used to do. I don't think they'll let them get up over 100 miles an hour, but I'm sure they'll let them stretch them out a little bit on the A1A side. I'm sure on the beach they're going to keep the speeds down a little bit.
I would imagine they would.
This is exciting to me. This is taking. Mike Helton said this is the roots of racing, and he's here today and chatted with him. He goes, we take this for granted, and we need to make sure we recognize things like this.
And Terry, you're so right. We're talking with Terry Sabiston, Motorsports Director for WNDB 1150 AM, our car clinic affiliate there in Daytona. Terry, I'd like for our listeners to know, and for all of our friends in Daytona and Ormond Beach, years ago, and many years, Henry Ford, of course, needed more money. And to get more money, he said, well, let's go racing. So the only place they had to race in Detroit was, of course, cold and snowy and wintry, and they're going whatever miles per hour they were, and a mechanic hanging out the side of the car, tuning the engine. So he had to have some warm place to go, and he said, I'm going to Ormond Beach. So they went to Ormond Beach, and literally, you may or may not recall, Ormond Beach was the genesis of all beach racing. And then, of course, a little later on, following, was the North Turn racing on the beach. And folks, again, I would love for you to go to racingsnorthturn.com and just take a look at how it was back then, and then think about it, about the safety of the cars that we have. I mean, the barriers that we can run into, when they test cars today, and how cars are manufactured and made today versus how they were actually raced back then. Racing and safety is all one ball. It is. It's one concrete way to help people drive a safer car. And to that end, the little smart car that my wife drives has a Tritium NASCAR roll cage that is built into the car. Is built around that. But Terry, I'll tell you, it's just exciting to visualize what it's like in Daytona today. And I want to thank you, as always, for joining us and for sharing with us what's going on in Daytona, which I presume is the racing capital of the world.
It is the World Center of Racing, and that kicks off literally at 10:30 today. The NASCAR Cup guys roll it out at 10:30 for their first practice, continuing on track at Daytona International Speedway all day today with Cup 3.5 hours of Cup practice before the ARCA race. But the World Center of Racing has moved over here to A1A right now, and it's pretty cool to see a 1953, I believe, Buick with Mike Helton getting ready to roll off onto A1A with a number 2 on the side, and Halifax Motors is a sponsor on that car, and Purolator on the front. So we got race cars here on the beach. We got race cars at Daytona International Speedway. Bobby, it's so much fun to bring this to you and your audience out there. WNDB is a big part of racing here in Daytona, and you can keep up with us at 1150 WNDB is our Twitter account, and it's just a lot of fun to come out and follow us out here. $25 gets you into a full day of racing today at Daytona International Speedway. You can't beat that.
No. Terry, thank you so much for everything that you do. It's so much fun, and I'll let you get back to the day. And again, we have the big race coming up, the big race, folks, the Daytona 500. So you'll be joining us for that. Terry, thank you again. Take care and have fun today.
You talked me into it, Bobby.
See ya. And I'll be back and take your calls, folks, at 888 Car Clinic. Today's vehicles face challenging conditions, and with more than 150 electrical accessories for safety and comfort, like backup cameras and entertainment systems, they're like second homes. Johnson Controls is the world's largest producer of automotive AGM batteries that are precision engineered to reliably, durably, and safely meet these challenging needs. AGM batteries have up to 2 times the life of traditional batteries and are non-spillable. The next time you need a battery, ask for an AGM battery to meet today's driving and electrical demands. For more information, visit autobatteries.com.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
I want to be a warm fleece on a cold
I want to
day.
be a football
I want to
stadium.
be a bike that races around the country.
I want to be a bench on a forest trail.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Folks, being car care aware is important all year round, but winter is an especially critical time as harsher conditions can put strains on your vehicle. Here are a few items to check, courtesy of the Car Care Council. Your vehicle's tires keep you rolling down the proverbial highway. This time of year, it's smart to check tread depth before driving on icy roads, and you may want to consider special winter tires. Check tire pressure weekly during the winter, as every 10-degree drop in temperature causes a 1-pound decrease in tire pressure. Check your exhaust system for carbon monoxide leaks, as windows are more likely to be closed during this time of year. It's also a great idea to keep your gas tank half full, as this will help avoid moisture buildup in the gas lines, which could ultimately freeze this time of year. For more great tips, videos, and recommended service schedules, visit carcare.org. And while you're there, order your free copy of the Car Care Guide for your glove compartment. That's carcare.org.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
The airlines like to have sales. Summer getaway sales, holiday sales, winter sales. Truth is, at any moment, some airline somewhere is on sale with low fares to great destinations. Travelocity knows exactly what's going on, who's on sale, to where, and when, at over 700 airlines worldwide. We even have this nifty feature that lets you look at a calendar so that you can see exactly the days the great fares are available. Travelocity.com. Go virtually anywhere. AOL keyword, travel.
Hun, guess my temperature.
It's 2 a.m. Go to sleep.
Come on, one guess.
I'm 98.
Higher.
Higher at 99.
You're getting warmer. Wait, I'm getting warmer.
Cold symptoms keeping you from getting a good night's sleep? Get NyQuil, the nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head fever so you can sleep better to feel better medicine. Use as directed.
One more guess.
100?
Yes. Tell her what she's won, Bob.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Hannah, Miss Hannah, will take your calls at 888-227-2546. That's 888 Car Clinic. And put you in the queue, and I will, of course, put you on the air when I get to you. So now is a perfect time to get in. I want to share with you that we have a full house today. Fabio has company. In fact, the studio that we broadcast from, where yours truly sits, is a nice-sized studio. It's like 25 feet and 12 feet and 9-foot ceilings and what have you. The floor weighs about 10,000 pounds, and it's a hearing aid room. Is what you can, if you've ever been in one of those in a hospital. The same manufacturer, Acoustic Systems, was founded by a doctor. And so this room is a giant appliance. That's what they call it, because there's one umbilical cord that feeds it power to the system itself. So to that end, you don't really need a building permit because it's not a permanent fixture. However, having said that, should we ever get Ivan back through the Gulf Coast of Florida, this is where I will be. In fact, we'll fire up the generators because we won't have any power, probably, and we will come to you on a regular basis every Saturday from 10 till noon, and maybe even a special report from our area in case of a bad storm. We're not, of course, wishing that never happens. But Fabio and Jonathan and Hannah are in the control booth. It is a booth. Think phone booth here. Almost. Well, it's not that small, but it's certainly about, I guess what, Fabio, 20% the size of the studio, 15% the size of the studio. I'd say, what do you think? About that, yeah, about that. And Kevin Sapp is with us, and Kevin has literally helped train everyone in that room. You know, it's a trickle down. We practice trickle down for sure. And it's so much fun to have my cadre, of associates right here. And of all the things that we love to do, which is talk cars, and help you communicate with your local service provider. We love to be on time. And that's the drag racing days when I built rear engine dragster engines and raced those rear engine dragsters. A tenth of a second was huge. A thousandth of a second was a step in the right direction. If you could chop a thousandth off the ET, you were headed in the right direction. Next run. And then something would break, and you'd have to start all over again. But ultimately, if you stuck with it long enough and spent enough money, which we didn't have, you could make do. And finally, in 1975, at the Gator Nationals, we came out of the trailer 9/hundredths of a second, hundreds, not tenths, 9/100ths of a second off the national record at that time with a car. And that was in 1975, and the car was a 500 cubic inch, half-inch stroke, 426 Hemi, non-turbo or non-supercharged. So it was interesting, and so I love horsepower. I love to talk all those things. I don't go there often, or rarely do I go. Seldom, occasionally. Well, because most people don't understand about cam lift and duration, and lifter rise, and thermodynamics and compression ratios and all that. But believe you me, folks, the car that you're driving today is totally wrapped around everything I just mentioned. Cam timing and compression ratios and all of that, that meaning that engineering is developed around octane. So the higher the octane, the more power you can make. So what is the answer to getting more MPG? Well, using a higher octane fuel, which enables. It's like going to war. You have to have tools to go to war. If you want to fly, you got to have an airplane, right? Or a darn good parachute, and get up there and jump out if you have the wherewithal to do that. But the bottom line is, you being engineers, can build superior, high-powered engines, but that engine to run, internal combustion, depends on the octane fuel in the better sense of the world. And to that end, you've heard me mention Super Chips. Well, Super Chips Flash Pack and Dash Pack are the best-selling tuners on the market, and it's for a reason. You can read all the details on the Dash Pack and the Flash Pack, folks, at superchips.com. But let me share this with you, and then I'm going to go to Jerry and get him on the air about his caliper issues. But in the meantime, a 2018 F-150 3.5 EcoBoost, which is one of my favorite engines, can get this, up to 116 horsepower and 104 pound-feet of torque without opening the hood. That's unheard of, folks, but Super Chips did it. In fact, the Super Chips team conducted extensive testing on the 2018 EcoBoost at this power with great results. This tune is safe for your engine, but not so for your rear tires. You got to love that. So now you can tune your 18 F-150 EcoBoost with a peace of mind. Just check out the Super Chips Flash Pack, and it comes with an industry exclusive, by the way, 2-year powertrain warranty. So you needn't worry about, am I going to damage my engine? Literally, this is a plug and play. For next steps, go to superchips.com. That's superchips.com. Take a call from Jerry now in New York. Jerry, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Good morning, Bobby.
Good morning, sir. How are you this morning?
I'm good, thank you. It's nice and warm. It's 31 degrees.
Well, that's just great. It's not. I won't tell you here, but it is 60 degrees here. But we had, if you remember, like 3 weeks ago, Jerry, we had a round of weather that matched yours in New York, right here in Pensacola, Florida. It was 31 degrees, and the bottom line, we're not equipped to work in that kind of weather. My team in my service shop is 15,000 square feet, and it's a metal building. You cannot heat, you cannot secure, and you cannot keep rain, wind, or the elements out of a metal building unless you're inside the metal building, inside the studio, which is where we are today. But I'm glad you called. What can I do for you?
I have an 05 Town and Country, and I can bleed the right front caliper, and the pedal is good, but it returns. I can't totally eliminate the air out of that right front caliper. I replace the right front caliper and the left rear, and it still reoccurs on me.
Well, let me ask you a question. You say you bleed the caliper, and the pedal is normal, and then you drive the vehicle and the pedal goes soft again, and you go back and bleed the caliper, and there's air there.
Correct.
And there's air specifically always coming into one caliper, but not the other?
I never attempt to bleed the other ones because I always eliminate the problem and the height of my pedal returns. I might tell you that I'm a rural mail carrier, so I do lots of stopping.
Right.
And it may be aggravated by cold weather, possibly.
Well, not yes and no. Yes and no. The seals are aggravated by cold weather, and the seals, meaning the seals are brittle. They obviously are not soft. They're rubber, but they're not soft because the colder you get rubber, the more brittle it is. And so here's what here's my suggestion. At certain service shops, they use power bleeders. We have one. Now, don't let the name power bleeder throw you off. It's not like that they force anything. We actually use a vacuum, and we go to each wheel, starting with the one that's farthest away from the master cylinder, and we vacuum the old fluid out. So that pulls the new fluid from the master cylinder reservoir through the system, and then eliminates any air from point A to B, which is the right rear, and then the left rear, and then the right front, and then the left front. And there are different methodologies for different cars, but that would be a typical, and that would fit your 05 Chrysler. So it is my first move, or my suggestion for you and your first move, to have a shop bleed all four wheels, and this way you will not only be bleeding the wheels, you'll be bleeding the ABS unit, because the ABS unit has a lot of valves inside. So while you're getting rid of the air that's in that caliper, the only way that can reoccur is for some seal to allow more air to get in, and therein lies the real issue. So that's a longer discussion than we have today. But so my first suggestion is for you to have a shop power bleed the entire system. If it comes back after that, then you know that you have the initial starting point, whereas now you really can't say that you have. Even though your pedal comes back, there still has to be some air trapped somewhere in that system. At least I believe that to be true. And also, I also believe that, I sort of believe that to be true. What I really believe is that you have an air leak, and some seal is allowing air to be drawn into the system. That's unusual, because usually fluid will leak out versus air leaking in. But of course, when you step on the brake, you force that seal to wrap itself around that piston in all the cases. Anyway, that's what I would suggest for you as a starter point. You got it?
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Good luck. And thank you for the service that you provide as a mail carrier. I will tell you, braving the cold, and we have had over the years a lot of mail carriers to call and tune in. There's one thing that happens with a mail carrier that doesn't happen to any of us, and that is that they have to buy more sets of tires and many more sets of brakes than we would ever even think about. And so the mail carriers don't use the same brakes that we do, because they don't last. They use a harder brake, like a metallic or semi-metallic, but sometimes a metallic lining, and they'll go longer. And then when they do, of course, the metallic brakes will eat up the rotors, and there you have it. You put rotors and pads. So this gentleman, this is not his first rodeo, that's for sure, being the mail carrier that he is. New cars. We talk about new cars quite often. And one of I think about the Tesla, and I think about all the EV cars that's going on right now. But wouldn't it be great if we had a list of the best 2018 cars? Now, we're going to find out, because on the phone is Micah Muzio. He's a managing editor of video for Kelley Blue Book. And I'm going to ask him some questions about not only the list that they have of the 2018 new cars, but also what it's like. And, you know, I wonder how many people own his. I have just a list of questions for him. I'm going to hold him. So, Fabio, Hannah, if you would, tell Micah that we'll get to him after the break. I don't want to interrupt, but when we come back, we'll have Micah and your phones at 888 phone calls, 888-227-2546. Gas prices nationally, $2.63. Up since last week in every region, up since last year in every region. You see the trend? Higher gas prices. Micah, when I come back.
I'm Bobby Likis with today's Vehicle Maintenance Spotlight, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Here's a crash course in brake parts before you have a crash. Master cylinders distribute brake fluid to wheels. Calipers and wheel cylinders convert pressurized brake fluid into stopping power. Brake pads and shoes protect calipers from friction caused by stopping. To be safe, include your entire braking system in regular maintenance. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts for a wide selection of quality brakes. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices, every day.
O'Reilly. If it's hard to stop or you hear squealing and grinding noises during braking, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts. You'll find the brake parts you need from trusted brands like Brake Best Select, and Wagner Thermoquiet at everyday low prices. Play it safe with brake parts from O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Waking up can be a chore, but mornings knocking on my front door. Know just what I'll do. Put on a pot of Folgers brew. Mountain grown aroma hits the spot. Helps me give all that I've got. An opportunity to start out smiling and happy. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
I'm privileged to be involved with Capstone Adaptive Learning, formerly known as United Cerebral Palsy, for over 25 years. Since 1953, Capstone has provided quality care programs for persons with developmental disabilities like autism, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, and intellectual disabilities. Dr. Sherry White with her team are dedicated to Capstone's clients, and 100% of your contributions stay local to serve those in this community. Go to capstoneadaptivelearning.org to see the difference Capstone makes.
Technology moves at the speed of innovation, and today, that's lightning fast. So when you get your hands on the latest tech, don't forget to do the right thing with your old devices. Recycle them. The Consumer Technology Association and its members are making recycling your old tech device as easy as purchasing new ones. Just go to greenergadgets.org, type in your zip code, and you'll instantly find the responsible recycling location closest to your home. You'll also find lots of tips to simplify your recycling, like asking the store where you buy your new TV if they'll haul away your old one. Television sets, video game consoles, smartphones, tablets, they're all recyclable. Don't let them clog up your local landfill. Just visit greenergadgets.org. You're sharp enough to get the latest tech tools into your home. Now be responsible enough to get your old devices to the recycler. That's greenergadgets.org.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Great program today. Call with your car questions at 888 Car Clinic. Folks, when it comes to a family car, there's no such thing as one size fits all. And with in-vehicle technology constantly evolving and safety always top of mind, it can be challenging to find the perfect match for you and your family's needs. Luckily, Kelley Blue Book just released its, get this folks, Best Family Cars of 2018. And on the hotline with me now is Micah Muzio, the managing editor at Kelley Blue Book, who will reveal who topped the list for best in safety, comfort, technology, and drivability. Micah, that's a mighty tall order. Welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you in the house.
Bobby, always fun to talk to you. And yeah, let's talk a little bit about family cars for 2018. I know you're a guy who knows a lot about cars, But if you haven't bought a car in the last year or 2 or 3, your viewers and listeners aren't familiar with the automotive landscape as it exists now, you're going to be blown away by all the technology that's available on new vehicles that can really help out if you're a parent, like I am. I've got a 2.5-year-old daughter, and a lot of this stuff really matters to me. Like, for example, can I give you a scenario?
Absolutely.
So let's say you're walking out of the supermarket and you've got a toddler in one arm and a bag of groceries in the other, and you walk up to your vehicle with no more hands to open up the car. Chrysler has a really neat feature, which is an automatic power sliding side door setup. Basically, it senses the key in your pocket. You just kick a foot at the side of the vehicle, and that sliding side door will just power right open. And that's the kind of super convenient feature that I really wish my car had.
Well, to that end, and you mentioned the technology, I bought a new car in 2013. I leased that car, Micah, because I thought that by 2016, which is 3 years, they would change the body style. They did not, but the electronics continue to evolve, and I'm waiting for the body to change because I like my car, but I want newer technology because of the safety factor and because of the convenience. And that leads me to ask, how do you choose the best cars for families?
At Kelley Blue Book, we test essentially every vehicle every year. So we've got a broad base of automotive knowledge, and from that base of automotive knowledge, we look through for vehicles that express one, value. That's something we always think about at Kelley Blue Book. 2, versatility. We want an interior that is accommodating for carrying around people and stuff. How easy is it to get, little kids into the third row? How easy is it to install car seats? Can you put a car seat in the second row without compromising front seat leg room? All of those things, come to our mind when we think about family cars. And then, of course, safety, as you mentioned, that, not only will me and my family survive the impact, but what technology is available so we maybe never get into an impact? I think that's one of the big areas where we're seeing improvements that, I think people who are looking for a good family car are really going to see benefits.
So what are some of the top tech and safety features that we'll see in 2018? And then I have another question with regard to, of all of the safety features, for example, and this is old hat now, the ABS system. Everyone's familiar with ABS, and that's, I think, mandated. Do you see, and this is a secondary question, do you see the mandation or the mandated safety items going forward on all lines versus some of the, say, luxury lines? But fill us in on the safety features of the 18 models.
Yeah, let's talk safety a little bit. You hit on a really important point, which is the technologies that are mandated. So now, if you sell a car starting in 2018, it has to have a backup camera. That's a given, which is, I think, a great bit of technology. In fact, on the rare occasions I drive a car that does not have a backup camera, I'm sort of baffled that that's a way we used to back up.
I'm with you there.
Moving around, several tons of automobile without knowing where we're going
Exactly.
and being able to see in that direction is kind of crazy to me. But, in terms of safety tech, where the future is going is through more cameras and greater spatial awareness. So, for example, if you look at the Chevrolet Equinox, which is a compact SUV on our family car list, they make available a 360-degree camera system. And the way that works is they put cameras around the vehicle, and it stitches them together and creates an image that's almost like looking down from above the vehicle and shows you the entire space around it, and that's displayed on the infotainment screen in the dash. And that's such a helpful bit of technology because if, for example, a tricycle rolls out and is right near your back tire, you will see that. It also just makes parallel parking a lot easier. So I think as time goes on, we're going to see more and more cameras and, get more and more awareness for the driver. On the other end of the spectrum, you've probably noticed driving around, some drivers aren't all that attentive.
Really?
You might see people who are on their phone or distracted, especially as a parent. You've got screaming children in the back. That's very distracting. So I think where we're going to see technology go in terms of what is required is a little bit of what we're seeing, from, let's say, Honda. They have a Honda Sensing suite of active safety assists. and that appears on all of their vehicles. But in particular, let's talk about the Honda Odyssey a little bit. That's their minivan. They make Honda sensing standard on all but the lowest LX trim, so it's widely available. And what that technology does, it can detect when the vehicle departs its lane, even if the driver's not paying attention. And not only will it warn the driver, but it can automatically steer the vehicle back into its lane, which is a pretty amazing bit of technology that, again, if you haven't bought a car in the last few years, you may not know that that's a thing that cars can do. And it can also detect an impending collision. So if you're distracted or not paying attention and a car suddenly stops up ahead of you, the Honda Odyssey will beep at you, tell you to brake, and if you don't, it can brake automatically on your behalf.
I have to ask you this question. And Micah, have you driven one of those cars that has the automatic stopping feature personally?
Oh, absolutely, I have. And I will say some of the earlier versions were not as good as the versions we have now.
Well, that's a strange feeling. I drove a Kia K900 that had some of these features. It was a 15 model year, and I got to share with you, I was apprehensive about, well, will it brake? Will it do the things that I knew that it was capable of doing, but there's a certain acceptance. Do you think that, and speaking of our Car Clinic listeners and viewers, you think the American consumer, the car owners and car buyers, are ready to accept these features and understand how great they are and how much safety that brings to, and especially as you get older? I mean, it makes us all better drivers.
Yeah, I think what you have to do is establish a level of trust, and that can only be built on experience. So when you describe the car's going to do this automatically and do that automatically, that's kind of hard for drivers to trust. So kind of what has to happen is the technology needs to be there, kind of like a safety net, and then what will eventually happen is that you will have a moment where you will be inattentive. And when that happens and the car warns you, oh, you need a brake, and you do, that's how you start building the trust. So I think the only way the consumers will really accept this technology is for it to not be intrusive, but to sort of be kind of a quiet layer of protection that you don't really think about until it saves you. And when it does, and these newer systems definitely do, you'll be glad that the technology has developed like it has. That's a fine line. We're talking with Micah Muzio, managing editor of video for Kelley Blue Book. So the best family cars of 2018, how do you and your associates at Kelley Blue Book really put that list together? Yeah, we look at a wide variety of vehicles, but we want to think about, just the different types of families that are out there. There are so many different, sizes and shapes, for families. So we want something that accommodates a wide variety of families. So, that's why we've got our compact SUVs. We've got the Chevrolet Equinox and Honda CR-V. We recognize that some, families have like active outdoor lifestyles. So we've got the Subaru Outback, which, to be honest, to me, like, as a kid from the 80s, I used to like the old station wagons, and I think that's as close as we get to a modern station wagon, although the Subaru Outback also has standard all-wheel drive and 8.7 inches of ground clearance, which is pretty cool for outdoor adventuring. But, yeah, so, we've got mid-size SUVs in the form of the Chevy Traverse, Honda Pilot, Toyota Highlander, and Volkswagen Atlas. And actually, I'm going to mention the Atlas for just a second because that's a new one that people may not have heard of. Volkswagen is a little late to the mid-size SUV game, but they've come in a big way. And I mean that like quite literally. One of the gentlemen who works at Kelley Blue Book with me, he's 6'5", guy named Rich, super nice guy, really tall, always struggles with legroom. He can fit comfortably in the third row of the Volkswagen Atlas. So if sheer size is your concern in your midsize, the Atlas is definitely worth a look. Well, I can tell you, and folks, just for your information, and I help a lot of the Car Clinic, not only my Car Clinic viewers and listeners, but on the service side of our shop, I volunteer to help spec out their new car purchase. I did this twice this week, and I have to tell you, the options that are available can be mind-boggling, but make no mistake about it, the safety and technology that your list provides, folks, you've got to do this before you can, crawl before you can walk?
Well, in this case, you need to review Micah's list before you even consider going online or going to a dealer to look at a new car. And to that end, Micah, where can our listeners and our Car Clinic viewers find this list? Is it published?
Yeah, if you head over to Kelley Blue Book's KBB.com, that's a great place to find our entire list of best family cars for 2018, and really anything if you're buying or selling a car. The great thing about living in the modern era is that you can do a ton of research, not only in terms of the vehicles, but also pricing, and go to the dealership really well prepared to get a good deal on a car you're going to love. So KBB.com, we're just there to help you make good decisions.
Well, hats off to you, and always great to have you in the house, and I just enjoy so much. I'm kind of envious in a way. Here I am, a car guy, of all of the new cars and new technology that you get to drive and experience and then judge and then share that, and I really appreciate you taking the time to give us an overview and just a 30,000-foot view. And folks, you got to go to kbb.com, get this Best Family Cars for 2018 list as a perfect starting point. Micah Musio, Managing Editor of Video for Kelley Blue Book, great job today, and thank you so much for joining us on Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Bobby, thanks for having me. I look forward to the next time.
That's a really cool guy. I mean, he does a great job, and that is a great list, too. So when you have an opportunity, go there to kbb.com and take a look for yourself. 888-227-2546 is the number for you to call. Miss Hannah will take your call and put you in the queue, and I will put you on the air. Plenty of time left. Excuse me. Had to cough there. Here's this week was a big week for Elon Musk. And, of course, his visionary and his vision, he is a visionary, and his vision is just has no limits, it appears. Even though the Tesla Corporation lost tons of money and is really not meeting the supply demand with their Model 3 car, they still continue to move forward in different venues. And I was discussing this with my team earlier this morning in the control room. And I guess, Fabio, we all agreed that Elon Musk already made his money. In fact, Kevin was the one that made the statement that he already made his money, and these are what he wants to do in his lifetime. And, for those of us that don't have the luxury of being in that position, I have to admire someone who is in that position that is not all about the money. I mean, and what he does can't possibly be all about the money, because after you get how many hundreds of millions, billion, but how many hundreds of millions, once you get to that point, do you need, and that you couldn't spend for the rest of your life? So I do admire him for what he's done. And make no mistake about it, if you think companies like GM and Ford and Chrysler, I started to say Ferrari, but that's the same company. That if you think those companies are not really watching everything that's going on with the EV and the EV world. And so today I received also, on the other side of the coin for EVs, an email from a gentleman that was passed on from him, not originated with him, to me about the cost of electricity and about the limits that we have on charging, and where that power comes from, whether it's coal or nuclear or wind or sun or thermal water. But the bottom line, according to what I read, is that the house has like a limit to the number of Teslas that you could plug and charge in one block. And this article challenged the fact that you could only have about, in the average block, you could only charge 3 Teslas at a time. Well, to me, that's utter nonsense. And one day we'll get someone from a Southern company, or Gulf Power, which is one of their subsidiaries, here to talk about the cost of electricity and the future of EVs from a standpoint of the gas station part, or the infrastructure of the charging part. So there's a lot more to come, and there's a lot more in fact, there's another hour of information to come, and I invite you to tune in, stick around. We're going to come back after the top of the hour break with the second hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. And I'll remind you, every Saturday from 10 till noon Eastern Time, we bring this program to you from the comfort of our own center of the automotive universe, Bobby Likis Car Clinic Pre-Repair Service Facility Studios. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us. See you next time.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
Berryman's B12 Chem Tool features Hest technology, or high-energy solvent technology. The combination of Hest and powerful detergents help maximize one-tank cleanup of intake valves, fuel injectors, and combustion chambers. But don't take our word for it. Here's another Hestimonial. Kevin's weekend car, his Porsche, was making a coughing noise and generating a backfire upon startup. Within 2 weeks of using just one can of Berryman B12 Chem Tool, the problem was gone. Learn more about Berryman product and their Hest technology at berrymanproducts.com.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
If you're familiar with the Kulseford section of the newspaper, you probably understand this message quite well. You see, in the Kulseford section, everything gets abbreviated. Consonants, vowels, prepositional phrases, the very building blocks of our language are thrown right out the window. And that makes it difficult when you're trying to sell your car. You've got a limited amount of space to work with, and by the time you abbreviate the description of your car down to a couple of fragmented sentences, it sounds less like a car and more like a Bluck sedan with sniffed like new condition lemals. No wonder more people are selling their cars through eBay Motors. They can post unlimited text and photo descriptions, and with a nationwide marketplace, they're likely to sell it for more. Plus, both parties can be covered by eBay's Vehicle Protection Program. Buyers are happy, sellers are happy, and no one's abbreviating. eBay Motors, a better way to sell your car.
Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 3-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 1-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 30-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 10-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And thank you, Marty White. Welcome to this hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Ride along with me and let's talk cars. The phones are open. Miss Hannah will take your calls. I see that the calls are already coming in. So it's going to be a fast hour. We're going to have a lot of fun, and I'll share you some information that you really just can't get anywhere. I don't have all the answers to all the questions. No one does. But together we can figure out a best direction for you, and that's really what I'm here for. That's the fun part. And like a month from now, or 6 months from now, or a year from now, or 2 days from now, I get a note from some of you or one of you out there that says, you and I talked last Saturday, and here's what you suggested I do, and it worked, or at least it got me to the next lily pad on the repair, and that's what really counts, to maximize the repair and minimize the cost. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part this morning by Johnson Controls, the world's largest producer of automotive AGM batteries, which are precision engineered to meet the electrical demands put on today's vehicles. You can learn more at autobatteries.com. That's autobatteries.com. And folks, an AGM is an absorbent glass mat battery. And for those of you who own a car and the battery is hard access, like Viper or even a Mercedes, you have to pull the seat out, or BMW or Audi, the AGM absorbent glass mat is the only way to go. Your calls when I come back. We recently sat down with Johnson Controls Global Brand Manager Joe Meyer to discuss the advantages of AGM batteries, including which vehicles are the best candidates for this type of battery. Let's hear from Joe.
Well, there are many different types of everyday vehicles that could be a good candidate, from soccer moms to landscape vehicles to different types of hot rods that really would work well with an AGM battery. Many of these vehicles include extensive electrical features, which really place greater emphasis on the demand for the battery. Additionally, if you purchase aftermarket accessories, such as infotainment systems or even lights, you may require a more advanced battery, such as our AGM. Lastly, where and how you drive your vehicle can really impact the battery performance. So for example, if you live in a climate that gets really hot or cold during our summers or winters, our AGM battery will perform better than standard flooded batteries under these conditions.
AGM batteries help meet the electrical demands put on today's cars. Learn more at autobatteries.com. Car repairs get expensive, and most of us don't have the money for them. That's where brands like K-Seal can really be a lifesaver. For example, heater core leaks are an expensive repair and can cost up to $1,000. These sorts of leaks often happen on vehicles that really aren't worth the price of the repair. Your choice is to spend the money or junk the car. Now, there's a third option, K-Seal. Older sealers use sodium silicate, and while it may stop the leak, it may also clog the system. K-Seal features ceramic technology that's designed to repair leaking heater cores without clogging. It's a simple repair. Just shake the container, mix the contents completely, add K-Seal to the radiator directly when the vehicle is cool, and then drive the car until the leak is sealed. Important to remember that when working on a cooling system, never remove a radiator cap while the vehicle's hot. Pressure and heat can be dangerous. Avoid a coolant leak casualty? Try K-Seal. Find K-Seal at automotive retailers everywhere and get more information at kseal.com. That's kseal.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Another lending success story from LendingTree.com.
Car dealers like playing games. They play percentage points, they play markups, but I don't like playing with my money. So I got my auto loan through LendingTree.com. I filled out one simple form, a marketplace of banks and lenders competed over it, and I got 4 offers back within hours. After all, the car buying game is a lot easier to win when you're holding all the cards.
LendingTree.com. When banks compete, you win. For additional information and state license disclosures, please visit our website located at LendingTree.com.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And let's get started with this hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. We'll take a call from New York, and we'll take your calls at 888 Car Clinic. That's 888-227-2546. John, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Good morning, Bobby.
Good morning, sir.
I want to talk about 54 years ago. I went to the 1964 World's Fair in New York.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I was 14 years old.
Sounds interesting.
And I changed plugs on cars before and stuff, and 8 plugs, 6 plugs, or whatever.
Right.
And they had this brand new Ford Thunderbird, and the guy showed off a little bit. He squealed the tires, and then he parked it. And when he popped the hood, I couldn't believe what I saw. This beautiful polished aluminum turbine engine.
Oh, wow. Yes, I remember seeing that car in magazines forever. Whatever happened to turbine? I think it never made the grade.
I don't know. The thing that really stuck out was they had one spark plug right in the middle of the top of it. And I said, wow. I said, I could see somebody saying, can you change my plug instead of plugs and whatever.
Yeah.
And I thought, whoa, this is it. End of the, internal combustion piston engine. And then later I thought the Wankel rotary engine was going to take over because I liked the theory of the engine. I know the first ones didn't perform very well, that everything moved in one direction, not up and down, changed to rotary, circular motion and all that.
Right, right.
So I just wanted to mention, I was thinking about that. I didn't really have any questions and whatever, but so I thought that was it. Electric vehicles weren't even mentioned then, that I recall. And I think I've heard vaguely that didn't Henry Ford or somebody in the late 1890s and early 1900s have an electric vehicle and whatever. But, of course I never caught on because of the battery, obviously, technology and whatever. But
well, to that end, you're right, John. But to that end, so everything that we think is new, for all intents and purposes, is not new, except that it's newly it's redesigned. So, like the Tesla, the EV cars, and I've got several white papers and press releases on EV cars that I really wanted to get into, and will this hour, because it's just so intriguing at what the industry is doing. And you said, and we all know, if you look at history, that we had cars that were battery-powered cars way back then. In fact, the first car that Henry Ford ever made was an 1896 quadricycle. And quadricycle, I guess that means it was two bicycles put together, and had an ICE, internal combustion engine, and ran on 100% ethanol. And then, John, to that end, later on in 1908, America's first flex fuel was the 1908 Model T that could run on a blend of ethanol and gasoline, and it was adjustable there. On the steering column, you could adjust the timing and the air-fuel ratio, which is the only thing you need to do when you blend ethanol, because it has oxygen within itself. So, it's so interesting. I too remember pictures in magazines. I wasn't lucky enough to attend that World's Fair, but I did see pictures of that car and that one spark plug. And the first thing you think about was, this turbine, is it going to blow up? It spins so fast, is it going to blow up? Well, you think about it, cars that had the first fuel tank, people were so afraid, and these were the horse and buggy days, they were so afraid that, oh my God, you're carrying around 10 gallons of explosive gasoline. So it's just unbelievable how new technology incorporates itself, gets used. And then in the last hour, we had Micah Musio on from Kelley Blue Book, and he was talking about acceptance. I asked the question, do you think people will accept EV cars? He said, well, and autonomous cars and the safety fact. He said, well, yeah, as long as they experience a piece of that action and for themselves, then they began to have confidence in the technology. And I can remember driving my first, not autonomous car, but the first car that stopped and took off on its own. It was a K900 Kia that Michael Sprague, who was the vice president of marketing for Kia, sent to me. And I drove that car, and even though I knew it was going to stop, I was following the lead car at the traffic light. I had my foot perched right a half of an inch away from the brake pedal just in case. And I did that for a good part of 10 miles, I would say, of driving. And then I can honestly say that after using that car for a week, the only thing that I didn't order as an option on my new 13 car was that stealth radar, where it maintains the cruise control where it maintains and keeps up with the car in front and slows down. And after driving that Kia K900 that had that feature with a radar cruise, the next new car I buy will have that feature. So it is like, once you experience something and you see it's not bad, and then you understand the assets and the safety provided, hey, it makes us all better drivers, and EV cars will, and autonomous cars. In fact, I have information on that as well. Well, John, thank you for sharing, your good times with us. And what do you drive?
Well, I'm the guy that's got that 94 Caddy sedan DeVille.
Well, now that was the first year. Oh, no, yours is not the North Star, though, right? Yours is 4.1?
4.9.
4.9, yeah.
No,
well,
no North Star for me.
Has that been a good car?
Yeah. It's only got 126,000 on it right now, and I bought it. I don't care for Cadillacs, but it's a beautiful car, and the price was right, $800.
Right.
And the body's in pretty much very good, excellent condition for its year, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I've had to put some money into a water pump and battery and whatever the heck, but I'm getting older. I don't expect cars will last me 4 or 5 years, and then if I can get that out of them, which I know I will out of this, I still have some work to do out of it.
Yeah. Well, it sure was good to talk with you again and today, and I always love to hear from New York. So stay tuned. And,
real quick.
Yeah, sure.
Real quick.
Okay.
Real quick on that Thunderbird. I'll never forget that high pitch whirling sound of that engine.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. And I knew something was different in it before he opened the hood. And then when I saw that, just absolutely, you could eat off of it. Clean, polished aluminum. It was just crazy.
Well, to that end, and I'll let you go, but to that end, John, if you remember, and anytime the automotive world, i.e. Detroit and the manufacturers and all the foreign cars as well, when they start to see the shifting of the tide, they want, just like when Tucker came out with his car, it was a rear engine car and had an aircraft engine tucked in the rear. I've actually seen a Tucker and was impressed with a 1948 technology that was really way ahead of its time, but he didn't make it. If you saw the movie, you know that he was squeezed out from the industry, and but nonetheless, EV cars will not be squeezed out except battery charging. And to that end, we're going to go to Nebraska and talk with Greg. John, thank you so much for your call. Always good to hear from New York. Greg from Nebraska, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hi, Bobby. How you doing today?
Terrific. How about yourself?
Never been better. I'm driving from Kearney, Nebraska to Ray, Colorado, and never been on your show, but read your stuff in the newspapers and all that. I'm an electrical contractor. That's the reason I'm calling.
Okay.
And I just caught part of your comment about 4 cars being able to be charged per block, and you felt that was ridiculous. Well, in Kearney, where I'm from, it's a town of about 30,000 people. I just hooked up a power source for a Tesla, and my understanding is there are only 2 Teslas in our town.
Okay.
And it's kind of, I don't know who is saying that only 4 chargers can run in a block. I do understand that there are some chargers that charge at a faster rate and use more amps than what I installed. But can you give me a little more background on the fear that they're going to shut down the grid if too many people get the electric cars?
Greg, I don't have, that was an article that was sent to me via email, and I checked it this morning. I didn't print or have any of that information I don't have any computers at my desk here, but what I will do after our conversation, I'll put you back on hold, and then Hannah will get your email address and your phone number so that I can give you that information, because, and that's your business. So, I mean, does that make sense? They were talking somewhere of 100 amps. And they said, well, only 3 of these could be in any given a week. Well, that's like saying you've got a facility or a restaurant and it can only hold 50 people, and you're packed. You don't add another room, so it's a room for growth. So let me put you back on hold. That's a great question, Hannah. We'll take the information, and folks, I'll be back after this break for your calls. Being car care aware is important all year round, but winter is an especially critical time, as harsher conditions can strain your automobile. Here are a few items to check, courtesy of the Car Care Council.
Winter means shorter days and longer nights. It's a great time to make sure interior and exterior lights are working properly, and don't forget to make sure your headlights are properly aimed. This item is often overlooked. The best way to warm up your engine in the winter is to drive gently at the start. Make sure your ice scraper and snow brush are accessible, and replenish your emergency kit. Jumper cables, a flashlight, blankets, extra clothes, bottled water, non-perishable food, and a first aid kit with any medication that may be needed. It may seem like a lot, but better safe than sorry. For more great tips, videos, and recommended service schedules, visit carcare.org. And while you're there, order a free copy of the Car Care Guide for your glove compartment. That's carcare.org. This car repair spotlight is brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Folks, I've seen just about everything imaginable in car repair, or so I thought, until a Lexus came in with a hard cold start issue. Of course, it ran perfectly when it arrived at the shop. And our service team ran tests, installed a new cam sensor from our local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. Car fixed, we thought. Turned out the new sensor reacted the same way when cold, hard starting. Bad new sensor? Nope. Upon closer inspection, we pinpointed the problem. Believe it or not, the aluminum cam cover was corroded underneath the new sensor, warping it slightly, which threw the cam sensor off target, interrupting its waveform. The car's computer thought the cam wasn't turning, hence no start. We resurfaced the spot on the cam cover, installed a replacement sensor, courtesy of our O'Reilly Parts professionals. And now the owner says his Lexus starts better than it had in years. This car repair spotlight is brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Telephone tip.
From Geico Auto Insurance. When calling Geico to switch your car insurance, you will not need acetaminophen, naproxen, indomethacin, ibuprofen, a cold compress, an on-call acupuncturist, or any other pain remedy. In 15 minutes, you could save 15% or more. If it were any more painless, you could do it in your sleep, which is theoretically possible since we offer complete 24-hour service. Call 1-800-947-AUTO, 1-800-947-AUTO. Geico Direct, the sensible alternative.
When you purchase the latest TV, tablet, or smartphone, don't forget to do the right thing with your old ones. Recycle them. The Consumer Technology Association and its members are making recycling your old devices as easy as buying new ones. Just go to greenergadgets.org, type in your zip code, and you'll instantly find the recycling location closest to your home. You'll also find recycling tips, like asking the store where you buy your new TV if they'll haul away your old one. Don't let your old tech tools clog your local landfill. Just visit greenergadgets.org.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Very interesting call from Greg there, who's driving just outside of Kearney, Nebraska. KGFW, our affiliate for many years there in Kearney. And he just installed, and he said there were two Teslas in Kearney. And he had just installed a service for one of them this week. That he's a contractor. And I find that very interesting, and to that end, I want to share with you some of the technology and some of the facts that I know, so that we'll all know ahead of time. I say ahead of time, but what's going on. For example, Ford is financing an electric future, and earlier this year, January the 14th, in fact, they announced plans to up the ante on their investment in electric vehicles, pledging $11 billion by 2022 and promising 40 hybrid and fully electric vehicles in the next 4 years. And this $11 billion figure marks a significant increase from the company's original $4.5 billion. So that's 2.5 times there. That's a lot of investment cash. And the new investment includes the cost of creating dedicated EV architectures, no doubt an expensive initiative. And according to Ford executive, they said, we're all in on this, and we're taking our mainstream vehicles, our most iconic vehicles, and we're electrifying them. If we want to be successful with electrification, we have to do it with vehicles that are already popular. That's Ford Motor Company. All right, so well, you can't take, what is it? One monkey doesn't make a show. Infiniti is another of the latest automakers to go all in on electrification.
they'll offer a hybrid version of every car they make by 2021 and launch their first all-electric car that same year, which is 2021, was around the corner. The Nissan luxury brand expects electric cars and hybrids to make up half of its sales by 2025. There's more. The 2019, now this is closer to where we are, the 2019 Ram 1500 goes hybrid as well. So that's a taste of it, but that's not what's really exciting to me. Porsche, and I've seen, I guess it's a concept. Oh, and let me invite your calls too. 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And there's no right or wrong here, folks. This is just where the technology is going. And if you have an older car or a car question, I'll be more than happy to take your question and help you to make a decision on whether to spend a little bit of money and fix the car, or a lot of money and fix the car that you've got, or buy a bigger bullet and trade it off. But here's what's exciting to me. Porsche, because I have a great deal, anyone in the automotive industry and any consumer, at least that I've ever met in my life, has a great deal of respect for Porsche because they're fine cars. Any way you look at it, they are. Porsche said this week that it's doubling its planned investment in all-electric and hybrid cars to $7.4 billion. The money will be pumped into related projects over the next 4 years. Porsche's CEO, Oliver Bloom, said that the decision to bet big on its electric vehicles efforts was setting an important course for the future. We're talking about the Mission E. Porsche's already well into the development of its Mission E vehicle. It's due out in 2019. With Tesla's Model 3 in its sights, you see the competition starting to go here. Notably, the charge time will be very short. Get this, and this is what Greg would. I wish we had time. I wish Greg, if you're still driving, give us a shout back. Porsche says the charging time will be very short, taking only 15 minutes to energize the battery for a 248-mile drive. You stop for a bio break on the highway and you plug it in, and you say, "Well, gosh, how do we find a place where they're charging?" I thought you'd never ask. Tesla has an online trip planner, Maps, that are for EV owners. And although the charging points are becoming more commonplace, buying an electric vehicle still brings some uncertainty with regard to how far and where you'll be able to travel. Well, Tesla now has a map, and so you can map from A to B to C to D. You can go from L.A., from California, to D.C., Washington, D.C., and you'll know where these charging stations are along the way, and that's already in the works. And then last but not least, and I'd like your thoughts on this, because Henrik Fisker is a well-known designer, BMW fame and many other, but he's claimed a lot of things. Well, you can claim a lot of things, but to back it up is another. But I'd like your thoughts on this. Solid-state batteries, he says, represent the holy grail for automakers as they promise a driving range for electric cars. And Fisker doesn't expect his solid-state batteries to be ready for automotive applications until sometime after 2020. But according to him, you have a charging of 550 miles. No, this can't be. In a charging time of just 1 minute. Now, I do know from charging condensers, back when we had points in condensers, and then handing a condenser to someone, okay, this is a cruel thing to do. You charge it up, and then you hand it to someone, and the condenser holds all that energy, and when they put it in their hand, it shocks them. And we've done that many, many times back earlier. But I thought it was fun. Of course, I wasn't the recipient, so it was fun for me to watch. But the bottom line is a capacitor discharge system. If you could somehow use the capacitor and charge it and then let it discharge but not instantaneously, then yeah, I can see where you could, like a hydrogen vehicle. you know, if you're going to run hydrogen vehicles, you have to have a fuel tank that is bulletproof and stainless steel and will hold 10,000 psi of pressure so that you can have a range. Let's go to Jerry in Nebraska, who has some information on chargers for battery. Jerry, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hi, Bobby. How are you this morning?
I'm just terrific, thank you. How about yourself?
Well, it's a balmy 2 degrees here, and we're going to have a high of 12.
Better you than me. You're a better man than I say.
There ain't no way. There ain't no way I'm better than you are.
Well, what's on your mind?
Okay, I have 5 trickle chargers in my possession, and I've got I've got 5 cars with trickle chargers on them, and I have been told. And you was talking about AGM batteries a while ago, which is fine.
Right.
I have some of those, and I have wet cells.
Right.
But somebody told me to trickle charger, you need to put them on a timer so they charge once a week, or do you just put them on and leave them on?
Well, in my opinion, in my education, you need to take a trickle charger and give it away to someone who would use it temporarily and get into the new technology because, for example, and you're familiar with Tinder, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now the trickle charger of the old days has been replaced with a computer charger, and Tinder has one that not only you can control online, you can actually go online with your phone app and see what the state of charge is for your car at home. And I know you have collector cars and classic cars in your garage.
Yeah.
And so they're in Kearney. So, and this is a device that I've used on my cars in my Porsche for the last, I don't know, since 04. And before this technology came out, I used to buy a battery every 2 years because my Porsche battery, I don't drive the car, but I want it runnable anytime, and it is, and it does, and it stays that way, but it eats up the battery. So that's when I switched over and used the Smart Tinder. And Tinder has a brain, and it pings the battery like you would ping for an IP address in your computer, if you're computer savvy. And it pings the battery and says, how are you? And the battery says, well, I need a little charge, because it's easy to check. And it sends a charge to the battery, a minuscule charge. And then when the battery gets to the level that it's full, then it doesn't continue to charge. It backs off. So it does this automatically. And it is the latest in technology. And I'll tell you, what is really neat is that if you have multiple cars, you can have the same charger that pings and charges and takes care of multiple cars at one time. So you could invest in one new unit. Well, with 5 cars, you could invest in one new unit and then charge at least 3 or 4 cars. And you'd have to, for more, you can go to Tinder.com and learn more about that. But Jerry, that's what I would do if I were you, given the fact that you have these collector cars, because otherwise, whether you have an AGM battery, which is a fantastic battery, or you have a power frame grid technology, which is the Johnson Controls battery, or Johnson Controls brand, the power frame brand, you still have to be mindful of how best to charge that unit over time, because batteries don't go from a low state of charge to maximum immediately. It takes, on a good day, it takes 24 to 48 hours to bring a battery up from 25% to 100% in a safe fashion so as not to damage the internals of that battery and maintain that battery. So, hey, I'm glad you called today, and I guess you just have to brave the weather until better days.
You can come back up here and we'll spend it together.
Well, now that sounds like a deal, and that is something that I will put on my bucket list, my near bucket list. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, my friend.
I'm going to put you on mine, buddy.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you so much. And best to everyone there in Kearney.
I will tell them. Thanks, Bobby.
You're welcome.
Appreciate your show and your help.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. The Car Club of Central Nebraska, the Classic Car Club of Central Nebraska, it's a huge event. And we get reports from Nebraska, from Kearney, every year from that event. I see that Harriet's online from New York, and Tom's online. And also, we see Rick Ruskin is online from General Motors. Rick is a senior manager of online commerce. We're talking about EV cars, but guess what? There's also newer not newer, higher grade of technology, or something that I don't think that you're familiar with. And I have some questions of Rick, and I'll take those after the break. And then, Harriet, I'm going to take your call after I speak with Rick. And then, Tom, I'll be coming to you. And, folks, plenty of time left in today's hour, this hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic at 888-227-2546. When I come back, I want to share a little with you about what's new at GM, and then your calls. Don't touch that dial. Car repairs get expensive, and most of us don't have spare money for them. That's where brands like K-Seal can really be a lifesaver. If you've had a car with a coolant leak, you know how expensive it can be. It's not usually the newer, higher-dollar vehicles that have leaks. It's the older vehicles, say $900 to $2,000 range, the cars we depend on for daily transportation and other vital tasks. If you're experiencing a coolant leak and the repair cost exceeds the value of your car, you don't necessarily have to take your car off the road. Try using K-Seal. We've seen our share of these in our shop where, before K-Seal, once a diagnosis was made of a leaking intake gasket, radiator, heater core, or head gasket, the car was sent for recycling and the owner had to purchase another. Before giving it up, try K-Seal. It's a pour-in solution that just may allow you to keep your car longer without spending more on repairs than the car is worth. Find K-Seal at automotive retailers everywhere and get more information at kseal.com. That's kseal.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
More than 1 million wild animals are killed each year illegally. Poaching is a major threat to our country's wildlife. I'm Tom Barry. I'm an actor with a desire to preserve living space for wildlife. The Humane Society Wildlife Land Trust does just that. Works with private landowners to protect wildlife, to preserve natural habitats. To learn more or to work with the Humane Society Wildlife Land Trust, call 800-729-SAVE. That's 800-729-SAVE, or visit wildlifelandtrust.org. Thank you.
Did you know 26 million Americans have kidney disease and most don't know it?
The day I was diagnosed, I didn't know what to do. I called the National Kidney Foundation, and the young lady who answered stayed on the phone with me and walked me through step by step. She too was surviving kidney disease, and she showed me there could be life after kidney disease.
Visit the National Kidney Foundation at kidney.org. Now you know.
We're a land of cynics. We don't believe anything anymore. You know why? Because we've been told we've won $1 million, that it's new and improved, that it slices and dices, that our favorite singer is still alive, that we'll be prosecuted if we cut off the tags, and of course that everything is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. So when we hear the words customer service, we don't believe it. Travelocity isn't surprised if you're a little skeptical when they say they have excellent customer service, and that there's actually a pleasant face behind this website, a living, breathing person with a supercharged computer full of answers. Someone who's willing to help when you get lost, and most of all, someone that will actually pick up the phone when you call with a question or a concern. Customer service is just another example of how Travelocity puts you in control of travel. Chances are you'll never have to use it, but it's good to know it'll be there if you need it. Travelocity.com. Go virtually anywhere.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Get ready to call 888 Car Clinic and we can talk cars. Meanwhile, I have Rick Ruskin, Senior Manager of Online Commerce with General Motors on the hotline. As drivers demand more of their digital lives out on the road, Chevrolet is introducing a new platform, Marketplace, that allows drivers, to get this folks, to order their morning coffee from the push of a button on a vehicle touchscreen. How cool is that? Rick Ruskin joins us today to talk about this new technology. Rick, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hi, Bobby. Thank you, and I love that intro. That's exactly how we position it. Marketplace is truly an exciting new platform, to bring that connection, that digital connection that drivers have with merchants and brands to allow, as you said, the interactions and transactions, whether it's ordering your morning coffee at Dunkin' Donuts or reserving parking, reserving a table at TGI Fridays in the evening, all from the dashboard of your car.
So walk us through the process. We're driving down the road, we decide, or maybe we're on the way to work and we want to stop and get a cup of coffee. How does the car know where the nearest coffee shop is? And just give us over the 30,000-foot view of how we proceed.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the first thing is, this is about, bringing those established relationships that you might already have, like through a mobile app on your smartphone, and bringing it safely and securely onto the dashboard of the car. So let's talk about that Dunkin' Donuts relationship, since they've been a great partner of ours. I have a Dunkin' Donuts account. It's on my mobile phone, and so I link that account to Marketplace. Now when I open it in Marketplace, I see my favorites. I see my recents. My payment process is already built in. So all I've got to do when I open Marketplace is tap the dashboard. It opens up. Tap Dunkin' Donuts. Look for that ritual in my morning, that cup of coffee and donut. Tap it one more time, and I'm pretty good to go. So this isn't about making a decision for the first time. This is about fulfilling that ritual that I have almost every day.
That is absolutely the most enchanting. In fact, to that end, Rick, I have an app on my phone and with the credit card already made a payment for a pizza house. And so when I'm driving down the road, I could literally push that button. Let's talk about the Chevrolet. Is this Marketplace available on Chevrolet only to start, and how much of the line will General Motors add it to as we go forward?
Sure. So we're here actually. I'm talking to you from the Chicago Auto Show and the Chevy booth, but we're going to be across all of the North American vehicles, so Chevy, Buick, GMC, and Cadillac. When we rolled out in December, we did what was, for lack of a better description, an over-the-air update that put this onto about 1.8 million vehicles, and it's at, the majority of trim levels, we'll call it. And as we move into 2018, we'll be in about another 2 million cars. So by the end of this year, we'll be in about 4 million vehicles.
Wow, we're talking with Rick Ruskin, Senior Manager, Online Commerce with General Motors. So, Rick, the Marketplace app depends on a phone connection within the automobile. Is that correct?
Well, all of our cars have 4G LTE connectivity, so it relies on the fact that connectivity is there first. And then we've built in, this app framework, which allows for Marketplace and other apps to be there. The beauty of what we're doing here, though, Bobby, is that we have the ability to bring this to all drivers. You don't have to have a paid subscription to OnStar or anything more to actually access Marketplace.
And how many retailers are signed up, and do you see that list growing?
Yeah, absolutely. We started really with great drive-related categories, I'll call them. So fuel, we have Exxon and Shell. Parking, we have our relationship with an aggregator called Parkopedia, and hotels, we use Priceline.com. And then things really start to grow when you look at food. And so we're here talking about the first-time integration of McDonald's. We were able to announce that Starbucks would be a part of the platform, and Dunkin' Donuts, and IHOP, and Applebee's. The list goes on. So we're going to continue to grow with merchant partners. We're going to continue to grow with great features and functionality on the platform. This platform is going to continue to get better and better.
Well, just another reason to consider the GM product when folks are considering a new automobile. And I assume that this Marketplace app will be on the 18 Chevrolet?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, you'll find it across the majority of Chevy models, and in both 17 and 18.
Got it. One last question, Rick. A website so that we may get more information for our Car Clinic listeners and viewers?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can go to OnStar.com, and when you go into OnStar, it talks about features of OnStar, and you'll be able to find Marketplace listed with more details there.
Well, I want to thank you for joining Car Clinic today. I'm going to go out and on my Chevrolet, and I'm going to push a button and say I want to buy a Chevrolet truck, so the dealership will have it ready when I get there.
I think that's a great next step for us, Bobby. I just jotted that idea down.
Okay, thank you so much. Rick Ruskin, Senior Manager, and of all things cool with GM, online commerce, remember folks, Marketplace. Thank you, Rick, for joining us on Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Great fun and great information.
Thank you.
So technology, whether it's we think it's good or not, it definitely will be implemented and continue to actually help us drive safer automobiles and to make us be safer drivers. Okay, we've got a full load of calls, and also I did find the article on what I mentioned earlier about the engineer and the batteries in the house. Greg had returned the call, and that's what he does for a living, install electrical systems. But first, let's go to New York. We're going to go to New York with Harriet, and then Tom, and then Greg. I'm coming to you, and Adam next, back in New York. But let's go to New York now. Harriet, thank you for holding. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. You had a comment on electric cars?
Yes, Bobby, I did.
Okay.
I've been listening to you for years, and before you, Jeff Brooks, if you remember him.
I do, absolutely.
And I have wondered for a while now how long it's going to be before the automobile will charge itself as you're driving it.
Well, that's well.
What do you think?
Well, the return on time at this point in time is not possible, because but you can do that if you have, say, solar charging, because you have to have some source of power. You can't create something from nothing. So if you have the power, Harriet, from the sun landing on the surface of an automobile that has solar panels, then by all means, as long as you have sunshine, you can maintain the battery that drives the wheels, but there's a limit on income and outgo. It's just like your expense in running a household. You know, if it takes you $1,500 a month net to live, and your income is $1,499 a month, you're $1 short, and with no room to spare, no tolerance level there. So I think it's very interesting. But what is interesting is this, and I'm not sure I agree with this part. What some EV advocates are saying, and some engineers, is that if we get enough, and when we get enough charger cars and EVs, that in the off time, those cars can actually feed the household back on batteries. Well, that sort of works, but you have to have a really good battery, and the circumstances have to be right. And on those rare occasions where you do lose power in your home, you'd be surprised how quickly a battery will run down. You know, but I'm more positive always. That's my attitude. I live my life by being positive, and I like new technology. And just about the time I think that I've got a handle on cars and technology, something new pops up, and I say, I wish I had that, and I'll go get it. I mean, you know, but I appreciate your call, and that's a great question, and I do remember Jeff Brooks, and here's to Jeff Brooks. So we lost him, folks, but he was he was on the air even before and he did a great job. Harriet, thank you so much, and thanks for your call and for tuning in to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
You're welcome, I'm sure.
Bye-bye now. Let's go to Tom next, as promised. Tom, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you join us.
Yes, I have a 209 Luzerne, and it won't start. It sounds like it wants to turn over, but it just won't turn over. And like I say, I've been starting it about every 5 days or something like that. I don't use it that much because I have another car also.
Right.
And use this, for traveling. And went on the internet, and they said a lot of times it's the fuel pump relay connector.
Okay, wait. You got to have a 100% battery before anything works. and the battery will lose 25% per month just doing nothing, just sitting there in the car. So if you're not going to drive often, the best thing to do is to put I mentioned a battery tender earlier. That's exactly what I would do for you. In fact, a dear friend of mine this week has a Lexus. He has several cars in the Lexus. When I got to his house, in fact, I went out to set up a new router for him. And I noticed that he had a battery charger, on his car, one of those old-fashioned ones. I said, "What are you doing with that?" He said, "Well, I'm charging the car." I said, "Well, what did you do with the tender I gave him for his birthday?" "Well, I haven't opened it up yet. We hooked it up to there." And I said, "Leave this on this car." "Well, you can't do that. You'll damage the battery." "No, you won't. It has a brain, whereas the little charger unit, 8 amp that he had hooked up, would charge the battery, but also it would damage the battery over the long haul. So, Tom, that's what I would recommend for you, is to buy a tender unit, and that way you can hook it up to your car, and whenever you get ready, your car will be ready. Good luck. Thanks for your call. Let's go to Greg. Greg, welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Well, hello, Bobby. Good to be back. I wasn't listening, and I had a friend text me and say that you wanted me to call back.
Yes, I found during a break that email that was sent to me, and I just want to share this with you. And this is some engineers, and I really don't like many of the emails I get because they come from online and they're not factual. But let me read this real quickly. For example, a home charging system for a Tesla requires 75 amp service. The average house is equipped with 100 amp service. On our small street, approximately 25 homes, the electrical infrastructure would be unable to carry more than 3 houses with a single Tesla each. Now, I think that's the most ridiculous thing that I ever heard. What's the facts here? What are the facts here?
Well, here's something interesting. 100 amps is the minimum that the National Electric Code allows a house to run on. Many houses now, there's not a single house that I've wired that's less than 200 amps. Now, when you go to a breaker panel, many will have 42 spaces. So if you just put 20 amp breakers in that whole panel, you would far exceed the 200 amps that it can supply. Because last time I checked, 2 times 4 is 8. So it would be supplying, in theory, 800 amps. Right. Well, that doesn't happen because it's all on percentages, as I'm sure you know.
Yes, sir.
If you look at it this way, it would be like saying, hey, we can't have more than 3 ladies baking brownies at one time on this block. Otherwise, we're going to shut the grid down. Or, as my lovely wife, she did some quick research, and her research tells me that if you are charging a car, and again, it depends on what size of charger you're using, but it is approximately equivalent to running an air conditioner for 6 hours. Now, the service I installed for this Tesla was a 50 amp. Well, if it's 50 amps, it's always going to be less. It has to be 80% less than the breaker load. So 40 or so amps is what is being drawn. So it is laughable to me, but people don't understand. They don't understand I have a 100 amp service. I'm going to kill everything if I run my dryer and my stove and all that at the same time. And that's just an unfounded fear.
Greg, I want to thank you. I'm out of time here. But I really want to thank you for, and your friend, thank him or her for texting you, because that information, people say, well, the 100 amp service, and now, folks, it's like saying, well, my car will only go 200 miles on a half tank of fuel. And well, why don't you fill it all the way up? Oh, well, yeah, and so for the purpose of that, making a point, whoever originated that copy put the 100 amp service, and here the standard is like 200 amp service, so that just throws away all credibility to me for that article that I received. But to hear it from someone that's in the business, it's credible, and you're credible, and I thank you again for calling. Got to go, out of time. Thank you so much.
All right, bye.
Bye. Folks, I want to share this with you. I have been in my service facility, an authorized Bosch service center, for more than 30 years. When Bosch, and I've been to the factory in Germany, when they make fuel injectors, an injector has to have a hole where the fuel goes through and a pintle that opens and closes that hole. Bosch would actually make 12 bodies of holes, all same size, 12 pintles, all same size. Then they would mix and match those 12 to get the best fit, and they would airflow each individual injector to make sure it flowed the exact amount of fuel under the same pressure. That's how precise and how, with research and development, the Bosch invented for life product is. And for example, the Bosch new alternator, you've got to go to BoschAutoparts.com and check out all the Bosch parts. I'll see you same time, same station next week. Like us, you'll love us.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
Folks, you and I have discussed car repair for years on years. One of the biggest challenges is to know which part to buy when you do repair your automobile. You want to get the best quality. And for that, I recommend Bosch. Bosch, invented for life, makes parts for all of the OEMs. That's all of the car makers. So when you buy a replacement part for your car, it makes sense to buy a part that's been made by the original manufacturer that made the part for the car to start. That would be Bosch.